That's the point of these podcasts, right? I mean, now we're in a podcast culture right now, but it's just to try to quickly, more efficiently gobble up these nuggets like this. Just always learning, driving. Now we're learning, instead of singing or something. Not to say that's bad, right? If whatever, some people need that, but
it works
yeah,
for people.
It does. It does.
Yep.
It does.
We can share, just what went well, but probably more importantly, what didn't go well. We're going to save a ton of people time and money. And if I can do that, yes, please let me do that. Please let me tell you what didn't work for me in the past, so that you can accelerate your outcomes. And that's where I'm focused now, is just being able to share those experiences with like-minded individuals. And podcast is a great way to do it.
Welcome to the Systems Edge. Today's conversation is with someone who doesn't just start companies, he builds movements. Our guest is Zac Booker, who's launched and scaled tons of ventures across many different areas, healthcare, technology, including co-founding ADHD Online, one of the fastest growing telehealth companies in the past decade. He's known for a lot of big ideas, fast execution, and a knack for spotting opportunities where others sometimes see problems. He's also a friend of mine. Zac, welcome to the show today.
Thank you, David. Thanks for having me.
Yes,
it's a pleasure.
It's great to have you here. So, Zac, you've built and scaled multiple companies. Was there a point where you realized operations mattered as much as vision, maybe?
Yeah, execution is one of the biggest issues when it comes to a company. Dreams are free. Dreams are happening. It's how can we take that dream or a vision and then create an executional plan. That's really where the rubber meets the road. I see a lot of founders, including myself, who have shiny object syndrome. We have one dream and we chase it, and you might chase it to like 70, 80%. Can't get it to 100% without the right people, the right systems, and the right intentionality on execution.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it's like a high, and it is for me too as an entrepreneur, talking about ideas. I do it all day long, but rubber meets the road. That's where it thins out the crowd a little bit. So I noticed you've talked to me a little bit about this personally, but you describe ADHD as a strength. How's that helped you build systems, and where has it created some operational gaps for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, so ADHD is a superpower, and I've coined that for years and years. That when managed correctly, ADHD can give you certain advantages of insight and perspective, as well as energy. But insight and perspective of thinking outside of the box. This really comes in handy when dealing with specific guardrails of regulatory challenges or complexities within business. And ADHD, again, when managed, is definitely an advantage inside of the boardroom or inside of those closed door sessions where there's just a lot of governance and a lot of issues to discuss. Where we have experts and they talk about their respective strengths, but yeah, for me, I tend to challenge the status quo and think outside of the box.
Huh. That's good. So when early on, when would you say there's some operational skills that you lacked that ended up costing you time or money?
For sure. Yeah. So everybody has strengths and weaknesses, right? I've definitely identified my strengths, or what I think my strengths are, over these past few decades, but also my weaknesses. And for my weaknesses, I've learned that delegating them to people who have them as their strengths is much more powerful for the organization, especially when it comes to execution, because they know what to do and when to do it. And for me, it's that delegation and elevation mentality of ensuring the right people are where they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Takes a village, David.
Yeah,
Can't do this
yeah,
by yourself.
absolutely. You hear that so often from leaders. It's like, and no one knows it better than a leader, right? Who knows that they can't do it all on their own. So yeah, we wish we could, and we could probably do more. But what would you say is the most underrated operational hire that a growing startup uh, should make?
Oh, that's a good question. One of my initial hires is usually somebody who can um, operationalize the idea or the vision with a very pragmatic viewpoint, taking intentionality with steps, or developing a system around ensuring that that vision turns into a reality with a go to market strategy. And also identifying more people to be able to surround. So usually a COO is somebody that I look to hire, or VP of Ops um, would be somebody that I would look to hire. Outside of that, if it's a solopreneur opportunity, investing in an executive assistant is pretty powerful. So I have weaknesses of managing my calendar schedule, and now there's technology to be able to help supplement that. But executive assistant, whether virtual or in person, is pretty powerful.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like how you said that you look for someone who is operationally minded, but they're pragmatic. Um, I would assume when you're hiring a COO and or someone at that level, that's probably the number one trait you're looking for. The
Stability, yeah.
stability, pragmatism. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
yeah, that stoic mentality,
Yeah.
of not being phased when a challenge arises. Because in entrepreneurship, I mean, even in, whether it's growth or mid-stage companies, these challenges can come at you from left field.
Yeah.
And when they do, you're gonna want somebody with a stable mindset, because as a visionary, you tend to become a solutionist right away.
Yes. 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 And then you don't hire another, I'm hearing you right, you don't hire another ADHD person. Uh and
I mean, you can,
you can it's a lot of
but
fun, but only for a short while.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, well, it's like two visionaries in a room. You're going to have amazing ideas. Nothing's going to get done, but
Right.
you're going to have amazing ideas.
Right, right. And the only way anything is done if someone remembers to write notes during the meeting and take and follow up with each other, those types of things, right?
Action plans, right?
Action
It
plans. Yeah,
becomes task oriented, and thankfully, I've tended to evolve again, supplementing technology to be able to help facilitate those tasks post dream, but still the right people in
yeah,
that room.
yeah, absolutely. Do you find you butt heads then with occasionally because of they're trying to do their job? They're who you hired them to be, right? Pretty pragmatic, and then you're trying to be who you are.
Of course. Yeah,
Yeah,
of course. Those conversations are healthy conversations. Those conversations of reasoning and negotiation, and I mean conflict is healthy. As long as you keep it healthy, right? You're not attacking the person, because again, this is business. Um, we want to make sure that everybody wins, but in business, we usually leverage the expertise of knowing what to do. Um, and then for us that have been there and done that, I've had over 75 companies post revenue in 25 years. I know what not to do, because a lot of those companies experience failure, all different kinds of failure,
right,
right? So
right.
it's yeah, there's that train
There's that
that
train. It was behind you earlier, so we are not too
yeah.
far from each other. That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
Um,
15 minutes ago. Yeah.
there you go. What's a uh, blind spot that maybe hurts founders before they even know before they even know they're scaling? Like, what are maybe some common operational blind spots you see, even in high energy people like yourself?
Um, yeah. So the blind spots is understanding the unit of economics. This is something that I've noticed here is visionaries tend to be really good with sales, and knowing where the money's at. But it's the unit of economics and understanding how to make the money work for you. So they will. What I've seen is the financial understanding, financial literacy, financial clarity, whatever you want to call it. That is a bottleneck for a lot of founders and operators in that growth early mid stage tier. Um, when you're in mid stage with that, it's usually the setting up the new revenue models and new verticals, because you can tend to bleed um, on the ones that are working to fund the new shiny object and the new vertical of revenue that isn't really making money.
Hmm. Hmm.
So um, when talking about hires, the CFO is definitely important to be able to have um, for that financial efficacy
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
delineation of funds, ultimately to realize hopefully profit.
Yeah. Right. 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 When resources are limited, how do you decide um, what to automate, what to outsource, and maybe what to build in house?
Yeah, yeah. So that's a good question. Having software companies myself, we tend to uh, try and gain an MVP or a proof of concept in a very efficient way. Uh, David, we're in West Michigan, so inherently I'm Dutch. So I tend to pinch pennies where I can, and I want to make sure that we're getting to market with a quality product, with something that adds value, but trying to drive efficiency um, with knowing that scale is on the horizon, right? So I try and conceptualize efficiencies and systems around knowing that there's going to be an inflection point of wanting to hit scale. And if I hold leverage when needing money or needing growth capital or needing anything, whether it be a bank loan or what, I want to make sure that the leverage I have is driving FOMO for the funders or potential
Wow.
funders, right? So that's why I get scrappy on the front end, and I try and do things internally with everything I can. I do supplement with contract labor, uh, but it's usually for the things that are a little too complex, more on project basis, things like that. But once I have product market fit or some level of market traction, that will drive the FOMO for me to be able to continue to fund the growth of the project.
Yep. Yep. Makes sense. Makes total sense. In your experience, what matters more for operational success? The tools, the processes, the people, and then maybe why?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, it's the systems, it's the understanding what where the bottlenecks in the future could be. So remember, I mentioned it takes a village. It's all about the people around you. Are they sharing the mission, vision, values? Are they sharing that passion for growth? Um, and if so, are are they able to take the system of success, whether that be um, I mean, you can take EOS as a business model, right? And implement it as a system of accountability inside of a business pretty fast. I mean, it's plug and play, right? You just
Yep.
copy paste. But then uh, how do we build upon that? Because you're still going to firefight inside of the business, right? There's still going to be challenges, but it comes down to the people, really. Yeah, I leverage the network where I can, whether it's internal employees or external advisors. I leverage people in knowing what works for them, but also what didn't work for them.
Mhm, mhm.
Does that make
Do
sense?
yeah, do you have a lot of meetings then? Are you a meeting-centric kind of organization?
I don't like to have meetings just to have meetings. The meetings are going to be high value with an agenda. All of my meetings have agendas, have desired outcomes, and then everything has tasks coming out of it, out of my meetings. But I meet a lot of people um, across the nation, across the globe, really, and it's just been really cool to be able to strike up, y- insights into where I didn't think before. Oh, I never thought of that, that opportunity. That's a great concept. It allows me to be able to try it, right? Do a A/B test on certain issues or initiatives from other people's advice
Yeah.
or experience.
Yeah,
Much like
absolutely.
yourself, David. I mean, you're a world traveler, right? You you've been around the
Love to
globe.
travel the world. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure you've seen not only different cultures, but different insights in how to run a business,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and
And
potentially
it
different
is different in
challenges.
some countries, right? There's nuggets to be had everywhere. I know a friend of mine years ago taught me the value of going to trade show or, you pay $1,000 to go for the weekend to go hear some people talk. And I used to think, "Wow, I'm in a young entrepreneur, we're broke. $1,000." And he said, "Yeah, I get one or two good nuggets." I'm like, "That's $500 a nugget. Is it really worth it?" But it really is at the end of the day, isn't it? I mean, you find that you're kind of talking about that, right? That's what you're saying is that you're always turning rocks and talking to people and going to events and just looking for those insights. Do you find do you feel the same way? Do you go to a lot of those types of
So I don't go to a lot of I don't subscribe to programs necessarily. I
uh
subscribe to relationships. So
Oh,
when I go to events, I intentionally find people that are wanting to drive a much longer, more sustainable relationship to be able to weather the storms. We're all going to have, um, problems when it comes to business, even when it comes to personal. So personal, professional, you're going to have challenges, and if you can surround yourself around a community where they don't have an agenda, they are intentionally driven by positive outcome of wanting to help. That's their why is wanting to help. Oh man, that's powerful.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
powerful.
So basically, finding those altruistic people, people who that's their, like you said, that's their core motivation is some sort
It,
of altruism.
right. The authentic,
Yep.
raw individual that is willing to have an open and honest conversation um, at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
Uh, in getting a phone call set up and they're answering the phone saying, "Hey man, what's going on?"
Yeah.
And you're able to just like jump into it and they're able to help you. That's so powerful of a network.
Yeah.
And
Those are the best
that's what we're
advisors.
focused.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're
Yeah.
focused on is just being able to just be ready.
Yeah.
So,
It's so rich, what you just said, and it goes back to that adage of sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. Because what you need to know is probably inside of somebody you know. You just have to go
of course.
find it. So, yeah,
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 of course.
yeah.
That if you look at a bell curve, in we're high networkers, right, David? Like we love
Yep,
to meet new people. We love to understand where they've come from, where they're going, and then to be able to help them. Finding synergistic points even for initiatives that we have, if that can help facilitate growth for them, awesome. But if you look at it, there's a bell curve of a relationship in networking, and it usually will apex um, and then that apex starts to come back down and you start to lose contact with the individual. You start to lose the intentionality of wanting to drive value. It's not necessarily intentional, um, but it just happens.
mhm,
And I'm wrestling with myself on trying to figure out how to have, instead of that bell curve, how to keep that apex of a relationship and keep it going up and to the right,
yeah.
you know,
A
much
friend of
like
mine,
all of the go ahead.
he's passed on. He used to be the CFO of a very large bank here in town. People listening might not know it, but very, very large bank, and, he he said his network, what you're describing there, he said he's learned over the years, this he probably passed away in his late 60s, said he learned that he could only manage about 150 of those types of relationships. He was just like what you described, and that's similar to what you're saying, and he just said, "I learned that that's sort of my cap, and that's working it full time," right? Because you just only have so many relationships, that you can manage like that, so
It
he
really
just
is.
yeah, and that was
There's gr
but that's the sweet spot for him, right? Everybody's gonna have their own sweet spot, but sounds like that's what you do, so it's
Yeah,
exactly the same thing. Just
yep,
nurture, nurture, nurture,
yeah,
and it's a give and take, right? It's a servant's heart for each other, so
that's exactly right. Yep,
yeah, yeah. So you move pretty fast, how do you keep speed from turning into chaos?
yeah, so, it's a good question. Uh, we as founders, we as leaders, tend to want to jump in and solutionize. Um, and I've seen this. I've seen this from myself. But there will be eventual blind spots that will show up, and we may not know what's around the corner. Um, but we'll justify it by saying we've always done it this way, or that's just how the industry works. And I've heard this so many times. Um, but uh, but it really, I mean, things hide in the handoffs when it comes to um, those us dropping the ball as founders or leaders, because we we have a lack of knowing how to hand it off, why to hand it off, trust to hand it off. A lot of leaders I see just they inherently just want to do it themselves because they know and expect the quality to be done in a certain way. Trust is a huge thing for business, and I see this happening in a lot of companies. When they're missing their targets consistently, or when their best people are constantly firefighting, or staff quietly tolerates friction. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Leaders have got to trust their people, uh, and if you cannot trust your people, those are probably not the right people, or you have got to develop yourself as a leader.
Yeah.
Uh, and there's a lot of personal development there. So investing the time, um, investing the time and focusing on culture as a leader is something that's super important,
Mm.
that I've seen. And people just sort of like put that off to the side, saying, it's subjective. I can't really objectify how to be able to track my culture, other than attrition
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or employee behavior.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, all of this comes to like systems, right? Uh, yeah,
I find
yeah,
personally that the leaders who don't track culture or don't or if they don't enjoy that part of the process of managing and being a leader are the left-brained people who are the more pragmatist, the more black and white world, right? It reminds me of my son who's a math major and a programmer who thinks so black and white. This is no diss to him, but I remember one time him saying something like he was maybe in high school. He's like, "Why do we have to say hi to people? Why do we have to why do we have to take and shake people's hands?" Like it's almost like a in leadership, but going back to what I was saying, it seems like building culture seems like it might come a little easier for someone like you because we're more right brained, right? We're the creative visionaries and exciting and relational driven. Yeah, I don't even know how to advise. Maybe you do someone who that comes tough for, right? I don't know if you have any tips for them because maybe there is that person out there. Yeah, I need to focus on that, but I don't even know where to begin or I don't enjoy it, right? I guess
yeah,
maybe focusing on the importance of it.
yep.
Yeah. I don't
It
know.
and I do I come across this, people, I think people understand how necessary, investing the time into the people and the culture and ensuring that the mission, vision, values is spread and dynamic throughout the entire company. Um, I think some people don't know how to take the first step or the leap, um, and also there's a level of fear of dilution of focus. So, what if I focus on culture? What am I giving up? Um, yeah, and in companies, especially small companies that are super lean, who have founder driven sales, it's a heroic mentality.
Mm,
When it comes to that founder driven sales ideology, that heroicness has got to go away. We have to drive systems. We have to drive process. Still stay family oriented. Still stay culturally aligned, but driving
right.
systems around it.
Right. Right. That balance between task management and relationship management that I remember in college, management 101, that's a tough balance, but yeah, we all tilt one way or the other. So seems like
Yeah,
you have come a long ways in your learning process.
so yeah, I learn every day, and I'm
Yeah.
so excited to learn today, tomorrow,
Yeah.
and for the years to come.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
there's a lot that I don't know, and yeah, I learn from people.
That's the point of these podcasts, right? I mean, now we're in a podcast culture right now, but it's just to try to quickly, more efficiently gobble up these nuggets like this. Just always learning, driving. Now we're learning, instead of singing or something. Not to say that's bad, right? If whatever, some people need that, but
It works
yeah,
for people.
it
Yeah.
does.
Yep.
It does.
Yep.
It does. So,
Yep.
um,
So yeah, it's exactly right. If we can share, just what went well, but probably more importantly, what didn't go well, we're going to save a ton of people time and money. And if I can do that, yes, please let me do that. Please let me tell you what didn't work for me in the past,
yes.
so that you can accelerate your outcomes. And that's where I'm focused now, is just being able to share those experiences with like-minded individuals. And podcast is a great way to do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Once again, appreciate you being here today. I'm with you. A rising tide lifts all ships. Have you ever built a system maybe a little too early and regretted, or maybe built too late and paid for it?
Yeah, I've built systems too early, too late. When you do it too early, I find you try and balance flexibility and rigidity. So you're building a system and you're putting yourself now in the system. Now you have to work and operate within a box or guardrails. Um, when it's too
Mm,
early, you have to allow that flexibility of being able to fail fast, fail cheap. Um, Otherwise, you're going to end up failing at the whole thing. And then systems too late. Whew, yeah. I mean, you obviously know what happens when you try and develop systems too late. Is now it's a race to be able to try and find uh, uh, collaboration, cohesion, uh,
yes,
and then
yes,
and people have way too much on their plate, because
yes.
probably at that point you're either running too heavy and too much labor, which hurts the balance sheet, or you're running too lean, and now you're trying to drive systematically around efficiency, and people are burnt out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know in the software development business that we're in, the I think it's 32% of custom software never gets adopted. So they spend all this money, hundreds of thousands, $1 million, and it never gets adopted because of what you're describing. Like it's adoption. Uh, you can put a system in place, but then you have to fight a whole new battle. Yeah, it's a common one. We hear it all the time. So, what's a
Millions we
yeah,
invested in
yeah.
software dev,
Yeah, it
millions,
never
and
gets adopted, I know. People buy these, manufacturing, they buy a big ERP system, and of course, the salespeople are like, "Yeah, buy it, buy it, buy it," and we've actually gone into companies and said, "Why don't you work on adoption issue? Why don't you try to figure out how this is gonna go before even" I'd love to sell it to you, but, if you don't have someone who's gonna spearhead this, you're in trouble, so
that's a great way to do it. I mean, you're focused on the relationship and the desired outcome instead of the transaction.
yes, yes, yes,
Right.
yes. It
Great.
actually it's counterintuitive, for some people, like, they think you're not trying to sell me software. It's like, what good is it, right? At the end of the day, if you buy something and you can't, you're not gonna get the adoption, so, what's a metric, that most founders should track sooner, but maybe they don't?
Ooh. So tracking. I always will start with finance. It's just always understanding how you make money, why you make money, where the money goes, COGS, gross margin, and ultimately realizing a net profit. Um, I am surprised around how many companies just don't understand how they make money. Um, that's that is something that's just blaring, uh, in our face. But the other things is setting up the team for their specific strengths and developing KPIs around it. And I'm talking like just base level, surface level. Start with some level of sales KPIs that then translate into operational tasks and handoff, and developing KPIs around the end to end journey of the customer in a very simple way. Again, end to end pressure test it with KPIs that are tracked weekly. It's pretty cool to be able to see how people are incentivized, even on a reward system,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
whether it be
Well,
financial or whatever, time off, whatever. Um, that it's pretty powerful.
Little EOS sneaking through there, right? Because everybody has a KPI, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 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 those scorecard metrics
Yeah,
that
everybody's
EOS
got a
has. Yeah,
KPI. If they don't, they
yeah,
should, right? Yep,
yeah, that
absolutely.
yeah.
Is there any operational data that should be ignored? Maybe it distracts from what matters?
Mm, um, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's operational, uh, metrics that should probably be backburnered, but, ignored? I don't know. Probably, I'm trying to think of, yeah, I'm trying to think of, I would rather track more than less.
Oh,
Um,
good
you know what I'm
answer.
saying?
Good
I
answer. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I would rather focus on more than less and give the opportunity to then prioritize, the KPIs or prioritize the metrics, when it comes to operations, but
Mhm.
not ignore.
Yep, yep. It seems like if you started with more, I know in some meetings I've sat in here, it's typically, or do we really need to track that? This, you're already tracking it. It's like, okay, we haven't been tracking it. Should we? It's sort of like, yeah, make the big giant list of what to track and see where it all distills down to what's important. I don't know. That kind of what you're saying to a degree.
So yeah, sort of, and automate what you can. If you can have an API dump of data that doesn't have forced input, all the more better to be able to have reporting done on what's labor intensive to be able to input in, and then the automation. You're getting a full report now. And again, you may deprioritize certain data, but at least you have it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You get a dashboard and just move things around on it, so to speak. Do you run with a dashboard? I assume you have some kind of a,
I do. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
dashboard you work
Yep.
with. So
There are custom ones that I've tried to build.
yep,
There's technology out there that allows you to be able to do that with a
absolutely.
prompt now.
Absolutely. A
Then
lot of off the shelf stuff's great.
yeah.
Not always doesn't work in every situation, but if you can get it doing 80% of what you needed to do, yeah, some good stuff out there. I would say in our business, uh, eh, the information's so siloed these days that reporting's probably 60-70% of what we end up building. So yeah, it's giving people more information, like we were just talking about, right? It's like I need more information to make better decisions. So um, if you had to start a company today with 0 staff, what operational principles do you think you'd build in from day one?
Oh man. Operational principles.
Yeah, it could be principles or even business systems. I don't know that, maybe it is more specific. That maybe it is something more tangible than, but I think as with 0 staff, yeah, principles would be the word.
Yeah, it would be for me. I run a very small startup today, but it's all revolving around finding collaboration with people. So I know you said no staff, but it's going to be hard
You
to
would
do.
start a business with no
I
staff.
wouldn't start a business with no, not
You'd be
today.
you'd be
Uh,
like, "What? Solopreneur, what?" I know you can't even pronounce the
I've
word.
been there. I've done
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Entrepreneurship, David, is lonely. You get it. We're inherently it's lonely, and it sucks when you're lonely. Who are you going to talk to? Who are you going to vent to? How do you get the ability to be able to share your wins, but explain your losses?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
the right people, man. Partner with the right people.
Yeah. Well, you're fortunate too. I know your wife, as a side note, works. She runs some of your businesses too. So that's
Yep.
kind of that's a positive. I take it. You do. Maybe
Yeah.
you don't get a break from business when you go home, but
No,
yeah.
we do. We stay intentional on being like,
Do you?
okay, family time, like
Yeah.
phones
Good for you.
down, laptops closed, no
Good for
business,
you.
family time.
Good for you. I don't see you and your wife at the basketball games. When I look over and see you guys, a few bleachers down. I don't see you talking business. It doesn't appear to be. So it's good.
Nope. We're just in it, watching our children play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, Maybe winding down here, if you were to advise a young founder, you know, right now, what would you tell them? Just maybe some general ideas, thoughts, insights.
Yeah. I had this opportunity just yesterday when I talked to a founder and an aspiring founder, I should say, somebody who's looking to enter the world through ETA, entrepreneurship through acquisition, which is a trending thing right now.
Yeah.
Um, and they're seeing a lot of stories on failure, a lot of stories on how people have lost their marriage, lost their home, um, don't understand, the challenges when either building or buying a business. And for what I told them is, if you can surround yourself around the right people, whether advisors, staff, um, even family, to be able to talk to as you go through this journey, you'll set yourself up for much better success. And don't let those dreams die. Don't
Yeah.
don't listen to all the negativity. There will be challenges. Every entrepreneur experiences challenges, but it's up to you to be able to decide to say, that challenge I'm going to turn into an opportunity.
Yeah. Awesome. Appreciate your words today, Zach. Thanks for being our guest here today, taking us on an inside journey of what entrepreneurship, little peek inside entrepreneurship, inside your life and your world. I know you and I have done this. We can talk and talk and talk and talk, and it just never gets old. Part of that's because we're both entrepreneurs, but part of it is just maybe you have so many cool stories. I can sit there and just
I haven't
drink
really
them
got
in.
into any of the
You
stories.
didn't. 30 minutes is a tough time to fit it all in. So
Yeah,
maybe we'll have you back at some point. I really appreciate you being here, sharing some
of
nuggets
course.
with us today. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, David.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Have a great
Have
day.
a good one.
You can stay on here. I'm going to